Hi, welcome back. I'm Linda. Thanks for joining me today. Today I just finished up another new seascape. I love doing seascapes. This one, I'm dedicating this one to Violet Parker, a renowned artist from the 80s. She painted gorgeous seascapes, and so I painted a few of them. This one I have not until today. It has some light rays coming out of the clouds. Beautiful surf, the rocks coming down into the shoreline, even have a couple of seagulls. So I hope you can follow along, pause and paint. So let's get started. Here are the oil paints I used: Liquid Clear, Bros, Titanium White by Winsor Newton, Lamp Black, Winsor Newton, Prussian Blue, Winsor, Turquoise by Gamblin 1980, Van Dyke Brown, Winsor, Yellow Ochre, Winsor, Brilliant Red by Artist Loft, and Blue Shop Towels. So now I'm going over a clean dry canvas with some liquid clear. I'm going to go for the whole thing, and then after that I'm taking a blue shop towel and I'm wiping off all the excess oil. Just make sure you wipe it all off really, really good. So now I'm going into titanium white, going into the center, just giving a little brightness there, top center. Just blend that in a little bit. About halfway down is all you need to go. And then I'm going into a little bit of phthalo blue up in the top corners, probably a little darker on each corner, but I'm going to go all the way across. Just blending that in. Little X strokes. Yep, just blending that in. And if you ever have any problems with your canvas being a little loose, I put a little bit of water on a rag, and I just wipe the back side of it. Don't ever paint the back side of your canvas, because the canvas needs to breathe. So you leave the back side alone. I just thought I'd give you that tip. So now I'm going into a medium gray. It's white with a chip black. Just little circular motions. I'm making a little area up there of darker clouds. And just blending across and putting a little darker phthalo right there, making like little cloud formations here and there. And underneath that gray area, just putting a little, maybe a little Prussian, just a tiny bit, just creating a dark cloud. I'm taking a clean, dry fan brush, and I'm just buffing the bottom edges of those out. Just blending it in. Putting a little more gray, light gray, white with a touch of black, just to make a medium to light gray. Putting in some of those gray clouds. Just here and there. Leaving the center part open. That is where the brightest area of your painting is going to be. Right above the halfway mark, that's the light is going to be really, really bright in there. So don't paint in there. So I'm just buffing out some of those gray clouds, adding a little bit of phthalo, adding some clouds in there underneath those gray clouds. It looks kind of funny now, but it will all come together. And just keep circular motions, because I'll be buffing all those out. I'm making a little bit of a area there that's going to curve around to the center. But you can make yours any way you want to. I'm trying to make more realistic clouds with a little darkness on the very tops, and then underneath I'm going to define another cloud that's kind of layering the clouds. A little bit of a separation. And just buffing underneath there, smoothing it all in. Trying to shape out that top dark cloud. I don't want it to be, I want it to be noticeable, but I want to kind of fade it in. Like the clouds in the morning, real early morning, are moving across. Daylight, daybreak. Then I'm taking some medium colored gray. I'm just pushing that on way above the halfway mark, and then I'm going over the top of that with a little bit of phthalo blue. And now I'm going to go down with a lighter gray with a touch of phthalo and putting in some water. Same with the top underneath that those row of blue clouds there. Just working my way across. Because the way back there underneath that sunlight is the horizon line. So I'm just adding more of the blues, a little bit of white, giving the water some movement, angling over. I'm using a little 1-inch. That works pretty nice for 16 by 20. I'm going to a darker area way below the halfway mark. That's going to be where I'm going to have some boulders. Same with the other side. I'm just going to bring that in a little bit. And I'm going to take a shop towel. This is kind of nice. Just take a shop towel, go over the top of that. Brush one way from the outside of the canvas in. Same with the other side. See how pretty that looks? It makes it look really nice. Okay, so now I'm going to have a little tiny bit of, I guess it's a little landmass back there. And I'm putting in some dark, it's probably Prussian and a little tiny bit of black. And I'm just putting a little tiny little circular motions. That's where there's some land there. Just ever so light. And now, with the same color, actually, I'm going to go up and I'm going to create another dark cloud. Just little circular motions up there, because I'll be buffing all that out. But I wanted a few dark clouds in there to give it a variety of interest. And I'm not usually this detailed in my skies, but this is a Violet Parkhurst, one of her paintings. It's a little different, but she really did a lot of detail work in her skies. I'm trying it to see how I like it. I do like her style. And a little white in there, bringing some of that blue underneath, just with the corner of my fan brush. And I'm going to blend some of that into that dark cloud. I even used my finger quite a bit, but that's all right. That's a little, it blends. It's a good blender. Putting a little, little tops on that dark cloud a little bit, just trying to make it a little more realistic. And blending with my clean dry fan brush. Now I'm putting a little light right in the middle there, putting some white clouds on the gray area. It may seem a little heavy right now, the white, but you'll see I put a little shop rag right over the top of that, and I let it sit for a few minutes, and it sucks up all that extra oil. Takes it right up. Then there's no need to really brush. It's just the shop towel does it for you. Takes all that excess ink off. Take my finger and rub across it. Works pretty slick. And if there are any little bumps, you can gently take your fan brush and buff it out. But I usually use a shop towel. You can see it does take off that excess, but it's nice. It's a nice little trick. Making your clouds a little softer. And now you can go on the bottoms of those with a really soft, it's like a sable brush. It's very soft. It doesn't really change anything. It just softens it up even more. And you can go back later on and just really highlight the tops of those clouds too, if you want to really brighten them up. I'm going to go on the shoreline there. Bring in some white, some wave action way in the distance. Just here and there, letting some of that blue come through. But that area there, I want it to be rather gray, because when I put my sun rays in or my light rays, they'll really show up better rather than on a light blue. So I want a little bit of a darker water right in there. Just creating some water lines, movement, with some light blues, phthalo, and a little bit of white, kind of an icy blue. Now I'm putting in some wave action kind of below, right about the halfway mark there. Just a little bunch of waves there. And then I'm putting in a little bit of the icy blue underneath, kind of outlining it. And then I'm going to take a medium gray and go right under that little mini surf there. The land must be very shallow there, so I'm just buffing that edge out a little bit. Kind of accentuates that dark area, accentuates that little landmass there. I'm going into straight titanium. I'm going to put in some more waves action underneath that light area. Oh, now I'm putting my light in. So, yep, I loaded up my fan brush with titanium white, a touch of liquid white. But I'm starting at the shoreline and pulling down really light. Really very light, one stroke. And I always usually tap my brush because I don't want the blue. There, I want straight, just nice straight light lines. Rays, call them rays. And I just start at the shoreline and pull down. A little bit more on the left. Maybe a few that are coming straight up. But that's going to be, you're going to have to really be careful because you have those white clouds there. Now I'm going in with a little tiny little round brush. It's a stubby little thing. But I'm going and there's no paint on my brush, but I'm just exposing some of the shoreline a little bit. Just pulling down a little bit so you can see that little shoreline there, here and there. I am putting in a little tiny bit of the light gray, just pulling down a little bit. Going into, yeah, a little bit of the medium gray, just tapping in. Light gray. Alright, I'm going to shape out where my wave is going to be. So I've got a little bit of light gray, light to dark gray, and I'm going to, just kind of outline where I think my big wave is going to be. So I'm a little below the halfway mark there on the canvas. And then I'll just a little over center, bring my way down, and right above it is going to be a big boulder, big rock. So I'm going to put that in too. I've got a couple of them there, even though the one left, it's really not going to show that much, but I'm going to put it in there. And if you're happy with that, then I'm going to start forming the side of boulders that come out from the side of the canvas. And I don't go all the way, I'm just probably a little above the halfway mark, but I want it high enough. Just about the, your shape of your side of your boulders there. Just getting an idea. And you can reshape them too after a bit. But now I'm really taking dark black, a little bit of phthalo, a little bit of brown. Just going to put in a dark color there. And I'm etching out where I think I'm going to have my big old boulder down in front. It's probably going to disappear after a while, but at least you know about where it's going to lay. Right on the shoreline there. And so now I am etching where my shoreline is going to meet the bottom of the wave. And just kind of etching that in so I know I have a little bit of a point there. Then it's going to go up underneath that boulder. It there. So now I'm taking darker gray, kind of accentuating the back line a little bit. I went into some phthalo. I'm just putting the groundwork in for the big waves. Just some color. That's all it is. Taking a 1" and just kind of brushing that in. So that dark blue in there. Maybe a touch of black. So I want it very dark. More blue than black, but it's a very dark bottom of the seascape there. So I'm filling my big old boulder on the side with Prussian, a little bit of black, gray, kind of a mixture of colors there. Same with the two there, fill that in, and smoothing out the bottom there. I want the bottom fairly dark, going around my rock there. But I want it nice and smooth. And after I get that in, I'm going to just do the shop towel trick, which I like. Take the shop towel and shape out where your shoreline is. It's just staining. The paint is just staining the canvas a little bit. I want that color down. Works pretty good. So now I'm going into a little bit of titanium white. I'm making some little splash in the back with my fan brush. Little wave action back there. Touch of blues in there. So now I'm taking my little shop towel. I balled it up a little bit and I'm just doing the center of that eye. Taking some of that dark paint. Connecting my rocks better with some dark Prussian and a little bit of black. Same with the side of the mountain there, or rock formation. Just getting a nice clean line. Just filling that in. You can leave some of those light areas in there. So now I'm going into a little bit of the phthalo and a tiny bit of that turquoise and white. I'm making a real pretty, soft, icy blue with a touch of turquoise there. Just carefully brushing that in. You can always take a shop towel and put it right over the top. It'll take out the excess oil and just continue to layer on this real pretty turquoise blue. And bringing it over. And then I'm taking a fan brush and brushing some of the darker blues up in there. Just like I'll see the water lines coming downward, but I'm brushing some of the blues up there. So now I'm going to start making some little splashes. Actually, I'm going to be making water coming down. Setting my fan brush right on the top and just gliding downward. Kind of like making a waterfall. Once you get your start point, pull down. And I always like to clean my brush. Start with clean. And that's with a little bit of the thinner, odorless mineral spirits. Tap your brush. and then I put it back in the white, continue. Now I'm going and pushing upward with my corner of my fan brush. I make them little foamies, little splashes on the top portion there, because that's kind of a turbulent seascape there on that side. I want to show a little bit of action, not a lot, but a little bit in that area. And bringing some of the white down, keeping the angles. You have to imagine how that wave is pushing upward and coming down. Probably a big rock underneath that right side. That's why it's gushing downward. So I'm keeping going to the left there along this side of the eye, and I'm going to push up some wave action up on that rock. And that second rock is pretty much going to disappear. I'm going to have some splashes that go kind of right over that one. Now I've got a little bit of the liquid white with my titanium white, and it really makes, once you get that on the brush, it really does put some nice waves in there. It sticks really well. So now I'm going to do some high splashes off the side and the end of that big old rock there. Kind of curving my brush. You could use, I'm using the same brush. I'm putting some water lines, just tapping, going downward. Same with on the rocks. I'm a little bit of water runoff on those boulders up there. You want to see some water running down off of that. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a few. Now I loaded a fan brush up with the same titanium liquid white. With the end of a small brush, I'm flicking the tops, and I'm making like little water splashes, tiny little water splashes right around the tops of those bigger splashes. Now with a liner brush, I'm going in with a dark gray. I'm going to kind of outline the bottoms of those, the top of the wave. Kind of helps bring out those waves. Now with the liner brush, I am putting in more detailed water lines, creating the angles of that surf, because it's swirling around and arcing down toward the bottom. Now I'm going with a little more in the eye, and I did touch just a little more of that turquoise there. I'm into that pretty blue color, and I'm going to make it come across a little brighter. Give it a little more blue, pretty blue look. Now with the fan brush with titanium, kind of put some water lines underneath the wave and buffed it out really well with the brush. Now I'm going in with a palette knife, and I'm going to create some water lines underneath that big old surf. Arcing it around, twisting my wrist to shape those water lines. Just gently get a roll on that palette knife. Put your wrist towards the canvas, keeping it fairly straight and just keeping your line straight. Just tapping ever so lightly. Putting in some water lines underneath the rock, the big boulder there. Working my way downward, I'm putting some extra little swirlies there. I don't know what you call them. They're just water lines that are collecting on the shore. Trying to make it look as realistic as I can. On the top of that big old boulder, I'm just putting some water lines on that, and then I'm going to perfect that boulder. I've got very dark black, a little bit of brown. I'm just going to perfect the shape of that big old stone there. I'm going to add some more motion to the wave here. A little bit of titanium white. I'm going to just bump in a few of the extra flashes there at the base of that. And you can go back and monkey around and perfect certain areas. I did not have my camera on for my seagulls, so I'm going to show you a picture, and I think you'll get it. But I used a liner brush. It should be coming in. There we go. A liner brush with white on it. I made little M's that come up, and a little bit of a body with white, and I took my liner with black and I just accented the tips of those birds very, very light. I really enjoyed painting this one, and I hope you do too. So until next time, happy painting and God bless.